Welcome to the final session of day one of Level Up. Excited to be joined by my colleague Jess, who will be talking through better retail. The category is sponsored by our partners Next, but we're kind of going to talk through this workshop, see what ideas we have. I'll kind of monitor the chat, so any questions you've got throughout, just let us know. But I'll hand you over to Jess and start sharing the screen.
Fabulous. So thanks, Alex, and hi everyone. Thank you for joining us for this session. So really interesting one to go through how we can maybe look at improving retail and what companies have done previously, using sort of gamifications we know is like the common theme running throughout the hack this weekend. So to start off, I'm just going to open up the session with a question I want you to start thinking about throughout the time that I'm talking. Apologies in advance, I have got a bit of a husky voice at the moment for some reason. It's obviously just where I work in sales, I talk too much. But basically the question I want you to think about is, can you think of any examples where you've experienced gamification in the retail industry? Now, when we were putting this together, and this isn't specifically retail, but most recently, some of you may have seen Just Eat's campaign for the Euros. So they had like the spin the wheel anytime that you ordered from them, which was a few times for me when the Euros were on, that you could then like try and win tickets and other bits and bobs. So, and then there's also like McDonald's, like Monopoly, maybe not so much more on the technical side there, but, and it's obviously not very good for our waistlines, but that's another way that a company has used sort of gamification to try and boost engagement to their brand. But I'll be diving a bit deeper into some of the other campaigns that some other cool companies that have run over the last few years, and then obviously revert back as well. So hopefully you can get really informed and get some inspiration and maybe some tips for your projects that you'll be building this weekend. So examples of gamification in retail. So first one we're going to start off with is Kenzo. So back in 2019, French luxury brand Kenzo launched a gamified e-shopping experience to promote the release of its new Sonic trainers. So it was restricted to just a limited number of players, and the initiative aimed to highlight the exclusiveness of the product. So what individuals had to do was basically to register, and then they would go to like buy a pair of trainers. I was watching the video about this the other day, so it's quite interesting. But if they wanted the same pair of trainers that someone else wanted, they'd then almost be put into a game against each other, and they would have to beat the other opponent in order to then win the chance to buy those trainers. And that game was basically you had to press the tiger's head as many times as possible in order to then get through to being able to purchase those pair of shoes. So it really challenged consumers and added excitement to the whole shopping journey. And then for the campaign itself, it was really successful. So 20,000 fans visited the site in 12 hours and sales were boosted 6 times over. So really, really great campaign for them. So something for you to maybe have a little think about if, I don't know, if trainers is your thing, or if, for example, you're thinking of retail as maybe your kind of overall arching theme for the product you're going to be building this weekend. So how would you gamify a product launch for one of your favorite retail brands? So it's all little ideas like this are going to help you when you start preparing. Then next up, we have Nike or Nike. I think Nike is the proper way, but me being British, I say Nike. So we had a React land. So this was an immersive experience installed in stores around China, where shoppers would run on a treadmill. I'm not sure if that'd be up my street. I'm not really a runner as per se, but basically they got given the chance to wear the trainers, be like this virtual game, and they would have to make their way through over these obstacles and stuff to try out the trainers. So the experience was installed in 4 stores and 1 pop-up location in China, and ran for 1 month. Once experiencing the game, 48% of players bought the shoes. So again, a really, really good campaign, something a bit quirky, a bit different. And also what I liked about this one is also very targeted. Obviously this like getting people to run in the actual trainers was obviously really focused on those who are interested in their fitness. And aside from React Land as well, I mean, Nike gets really raving reviews. When we're doing research for gamification, there's a lot of articles around how Nike really just aces it when it comes to boosting activity and using gamification to do that. Some of you may be part of the Nike Run Club, which also gets highly rated. So perhaps if you're into your fitness, maybe you can take some inspiration for what Nike have done. Additionally, apologies, there's an ice cream van going past my house if you hear that in the background, the joys of working from home. But additionally, how would you use gamification to make trialing a product less boring for the customer? So I hope these little like prompts that Alex has kindly put in are helping you guys out. Next up, Coca-Cola. So obviously there's the famous debate, Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. Obviously you have got the other brands out there, but we've all seen the Coca-Cola Pepsi one. I mean, personally, I am a Coke fan. So throughout they did a partnership with a company to promote or to get consumers in Beijing and Singapore to pick them over any other competitors within that particular shop. So the company that they worked with, now apologies, I may not be pronouncing this correctly, was a company called Subaka, so KSUBAKA. I do recommend you check them out. They've done some really, really awesome work in using gamification with loads of different brands. But basically what they set up was a game which was quite similar to Angry Birds, which most of us have probably had to go at some point. But instead it was using ice cubes and you had to get that into a glass of Coke. So successful completion of the game resulted in prizes such as Coca-Cola discounts or loyalty points. So going back again, that little prompt for how could you use gamification to make a brand or product stand in a highly competitive market? Then we've got our makeup brand, so Lancôme. I've never pronounced this one properly. The team will always have it laughing at the way I pronounce things, but I think it's just where I come from with my South London accent. But basically, they partnered up with Alibaba. Again, apologies, I haven't pronounced that properly. To basically set up a reality game. So this was based in Hong Kong, and it was all themed around the Chinese New Year. So the app featured an AR scavenger hunt where consumers could win limited edition products and gifts by finding and scanning Lancôme's signature beauty products. You can tell I don't use their brand that much, unfortunately, but I did check this out and it looked really, really awesome and what they had running for that campaign. So they captured 3 pictures on the hunt, and then they were able to wish for any of the products that they desired through the app and being a chance of winning them. So it's very successful in driving sort of brand awareness. And also I can imagine with them be boosting more sales. As a little prompt here, how could you use gamification to raise awareness of a retail brand? Then one that I've been using a lot recently is I've been getting rid of a lot of stuff in my house at the moment is eBay. So eBay is actually one of the first brands or earliest companies to implement gamification techniques as part of its core business. So if any of you are eBayers, obviously the bidding thing, I can't help myself. I always like to have a little bid. And also when I'm selling stuff, to get that activity coming through on your phone and notifications, it's really great feeling. But you'll see on the right-hand side here, there's a little achievement award. I'm not sure if they actually do these anymore. I haven't been checking these out, but this is probably in the early stages where people used to get like certificates, so like a reward scheme for being like providing loads of feedback or for being like a top bidder or something like that. So basically with its effective bidding system, they're able to, eBay users are challenged to achieve level ups, hence the theme level up society, outbidding their opponents and then obviously looking to either buy or sell their products as well. So it's really really motivates users to participate and engage with the products. And then one of the last examples that we have is Sainsbury's. Now, Nectar points, I have my Nectar card, always collecting points, always, well, basically any sort of loyalty thing I'm normally signed up to. My purse is rather chunky. But basically it was bought back in June 2021, which is the Great Big Fruit and Veg Challenge. And basically this is interactive targets to encourage customers to purchase more fruit and veg. So very much sort of promoting rewarding sort of, healthiness and well-being, and basically rewarding for taking part in that particular event, or that particular sort of targets, achieving those targets, they would be awarded Nectar points, which you can then use in Nectar and Sainsbury stores, Argos, and also Habitat. So these are all different ways you can see how companies have maybe brought in third parties to help them set up like a very short campaign. Other companies have gone and utilised their apps and like maybe their loyalty schemes in order to boost awareness. So hopefully all of these different examples have maybe got your brains working a bit more and sort of actually going, okay, yeah, I get it. Gamification, we're surrounded by it. I just don't think a lot of us really realise it and don't really put the theme gamification maybe against it. But all of this presentation just shows you some key examples of what is involved. So there we go, reverting back to the original question at the beginning of my talk. Can you think of any examples where you've experienced gamification in the retail industry? So if you have got any examples, please feel free to put them in the chat. And obviously any questions that you may have, I will try my best to answer them. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching.
I was going to say, just to go back to that question, I think that, you know, for me, kind of looking through all those examples and things, I think it's good that it was kind of at the start and then at the end, because what I think is important for this and important for this session is you've got the Kenzo example, which is obviously, you know, a game within the retail industry, you know, kind of chasing the tiger. You've got Reactland, which is kind of in the middle, I guess. You've obviously got the competitive element, you've got the activity element, you know, that's a big grand scale, and we like big ideas, we like big thinking. But then you've also got the club cards, you know, the Nectar points, whatever it is that we use on a daily basis that maybe we don't know we use on a daily basis, you know, kind of reward points and little things like that, that it doesn't clock. So eBay is a great example of something that, you know, that bidding is an element of gamification. Like, it's not something I would have considered before kind of doing the research into this. And I think that's something that certainly opened my eyes. So I guess, it'd be great to get your thoughts. I see there's something about the Starbucks loyalty program, which is a very good point. Another example within retail of kind of, as we say, the loyalty program, the gamification, the leaderboards, the rewards and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be great to get any answers to these in the chat. But then also whether your mind changed kind of over this presentation and over all of the workshops today, because I think the theme of most of them have been how kind of grand gamification can be, but also how small it can be. So just a question there in terms of what app that uses gamification has impacted you the most. That's a good question. I'll go first and say it's not strictly retail, but I think between Fitbit and Strava, whichever one of those, I am certainly not a runner. I hate it. I used to hate it, but I am very competitive. Whether again, for those that were on Rachel Clancy's workshop earlier, she kind of talked about the different player types, and I am certainly one of the achievers or killers, and I like to win. So that kind of motivated me on a rainy Tuesday in lockdown to think, you know what, I do actually need to go and beat my friend's time today. Whether I did or not was a different question, but I think that's probably an example with the leaderboards like that. And I think that's the thing, is everything, you know, leaderboards, everything, giving kudos on Strava, for example. These are all little examples of gamification that, however you want to think about this, you know, whether it's retail, whether it's one of the other categories, it's these kind of small examples. So not to steal your thunder, Jess, I'll pass it over to you.
No, it's fine. I think an app that uses gamification. Do you know what? And it's nothing to do with retail as such, but it's to do obviously the fantasy football app. So that actually, obviously, that uses loads of gamification. And if any of you have been taking part in our Unicode contest, you may see a few similarities between like the leaderboards and so on. So that one, I would say, yeah, I'm always like throughout, I'm a big football fan myself. So I'm always using that and the prompts it sends through and the points you get and so on. And then on more of like a learning basis, Duolingo. I know that will get mentioned a lot because I think it's one that's got so popular. They've got over like 30 million users or something crazy. I was always rubbish at languages in school. Like French was probably okay. Spanish, I pretty much got told to give up quite early on. But Duolingo's like got that nice fun element to it. You don't feel like pressurized to do it, but at the same time, like both my partner and I were looking to go to Italy next year because it got cancelled this year. So we're back to learning our Italian, and it's quite nice to have that competition. At the moment, I'm not very good at Italian compared to him, but hey ho, it is still a really, really good app. And I never thought I would be encouraged to want to learn a language, but they've managed to do what my teachers couldn't at school. So there we go.
And I think another kind of question around important tips for the hack, I think from my perspective, one of the biggest things I'd say, and you know, hopefully there'll be many different tips given throughout the different workshops, but is spend time exploring your idea and make sure that you're really focused on that, so that, you know, we're very aware you've only got 48 hours to compete in this hack. You're not going to get everything done. So make sure you really nail your idea, nail what you're offering. Take advice from this, take advice from our others. See what elements of gamification you want to utilize, where you think you can utilize it. Make sure that there's a desire for it, and then just focus on that. I think that's the biggest thing. Is it's easy to get sidetracked with any idea. But over 48 hours, you don't want to spiral into something that, you know, you get to Sunday afternoon and you're putting your pitch together and it becomes, well, actually, does this solve the problem that I originally set out to? Yeah, I think that would be my biggest tip.
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it. If you overcomplicate it, you'll then get so lost in what to do. And as Alex said, like, it is 48 hours. We're very appreciative of that as judges, that you haven't got a lot of time. Hacks are meant to be fun, so don't forget about that element. It is meant to be really, really fun. And just think of how it will flow. Like, think as well from a consumer point of view to a business point of view, how it can maybe generate some form of revenue. There will be different criteria that we'll be setting out, but that's something I've noticed in previous projects I've marked before. There's maybe a little bit, not a lot of thought has been given into how that would actually work on like a global scale. It's maybe been a bit too small, but again, yeah, just have fun, and just, even if it seems like a simple idea, simple is always the best. But yeah, we'll be on the Discord channels as well, so if you want any more tips, any more advice, feel free to reach out to either of us to help with that.
Yeah, and I think a comment in the chat as well around kind of gamifying boring styles of industry. I can't say I know too much about architecture and how that would work, but I think it's a very good point, and I think it's something that would be good to think about both now and to take away from this session, whether it's in retail that you want to focus it or within one of the other categories, is what is something that isn't gamified that you think should be. So is it part of a process within retail that you think, you know, I go to checkout all the time, but because it's a boring thing, I leave, you know, because I'm waiting on a website when new deals come out, I leave, like whatever it may be. I think that's a really interesting thing to focus on, is what is boring. So again, going back to the React Land example, I think that's what they did really well, is they thought no one really likes trying on shoes. Like, you know, we've all been there running up and down the aisle.
The awkward walk.
Yeah, in our new trainers. But they took that and they obviously thought, that's boring. How do we make it less boring? And they saw that kind of uptick in, you know, I think like 50% of people ended up buying the shoes that had tried it on and taken part, which is amazing, really, when you think about it.
Again, that simple idea, like simple, it's an everyday thing that, well, not, we don't go and try shoes on every day. Well, maybe I do, but generally, like, it's that simple little thing that's just been made fun. So yeah, hopefully that gives some inspiration there. So yeah, Smarky2910 said about, like, could it be something to do with architecture? There's no limits. Like, I think that's the beauty of this hack. We're not going to be restricting you in particular. If you can make it connect up with the brief, I don't see there being a problem there. I'm actually quite intrigued to see what your idea is, even if it's not able to be done with this particular brief that we set to, on Friday.
And then just a quick question around it being in partnership with Next. It doesn't have to be for Next, no. It can be anything within retail. It can be something that will help retail as a whole. It can be something that will help like manufacturing in retail. It can be something that does help a specific brand, a specific website, a specific part of the journey. Again, you know, it's a wide scope. It's just that Next as sponsors have chosen to help out with this this kind of proportion of the hack. So a big thank you to them. But yeah, no, you don't have to do anything for Next specifically.
No. But any ideas that you get, as I say, just feel free to reach out to us. If you're unsure, if you're not sure like how to push it out further, we're more than happy to help you at any point.
Cool. And as far as I can see, we don't have any more questions. I think if any streaming, if anyone is watching this back, I know a few people can't attend in person. We'll be on Discord, both of us. I'm the kid. Jess, you are...
I am still pink_fizz. I got blocked out of Discord, but I am back. I didn't get blocked for anything bad, by the way. It's just I forgot I didn't have my 2-factor authenticator anymore. So yeah, but I am back as pink fizz still.
Yes, it's still pink fizz. So yeah, you can reach out to us either personally or just drop something on the general discussion thing in Discord. So yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Hopefully it's been helpful. I certainly enjoyed it, so thank you very much, Jess. And yeah, as I say, any questions, just let us know. But good luck ahead of the weekend, everybody.
Good luck, guys, and hopefully I'll chat with you over the weekend, some of you.